The Radium Podcast, episode 45. Back in action, back for more audio music, nerdy business music talk.
Brad's back, actually.
I'm back.
This time.
I just came back from Miami.
Yeah.
And it was 78
He was on
degrees.
vacation.
Yeah,
he was just
vacay.
kicking his feet up.
Just on the beach, rubbing coconut oil all over my body.
Yeah. Just getting that.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah. No, you were at the 10X GrowthCon, right?
10X GrowthCon, talking to business people, salespeople, marketers, a lot of real estate agents.
Yeah, big
a lot
time
of people
Brad.
in real estate.
Brad knows Grant Cardone.
Yeah,
He's got him on.
Cardone.
He's got him on the cell phone. You know what I mean? Just speed dial him.
That's right. Speed
Your
dial.
boy.
What's up, bro? How you doing? He'd be like, get to work. What the hell? 10X action. So yeah, I just got back from Miami where it was 78 and it was beautiful. And now it's like in LA, it's rainy and like in the 50s when I came back.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And Kevin's been here.
KDE on the beat.
KDE on the beat.
Right.
KDE. If you ever heard his old tag, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's memorable.
Yeah. Sounds like static, like someone fucked up the record on accident. Like someone hit the record, and it scratched the record.
Yeah. I mean, Brad, speaking of fucking up records, what are we talking about today?
So today I want to talk a little bit about some new tech from NAMM and stuff. We talked about NAMM 2 episodes ago. We want to talk about MIDI 2.0 and the new KRK Rocket G4s.
G4, fly like a G4.
Yeah, exactly.
Like airplanes.
Like airplanes. That's what they are. And also want to get into a little bit of the Grammys. The Grammys are coming up, and there's a lot of artists coming up. Maybe we'll touch a little bit on this Super Bowl halftime show. I don't know.
Who cares? That's what I say.
Sucks.
Yeah. So people played at the Super Bowl. Boring. Yeah, that's the coverage we're giving you right there.
There you go. And also, yeah, I just want to remind everybody, this is the 45th episode, but we've done 44 episodes of content with very high quality, high value people in the music industry, A&Rs, music managers, branding people, marketing people, also artists that are actually out there writing songs for platinum selling artists, making songs for their own, and they're making moves in the music industry. So I highly, highly recommend you go back and watch some of those episodes, listen to them on the iTunes podcasting platform. And also, we don't charge anyone anything for this stuff. Like, we don't sit here and, in this studio that we all pay for and pay a bunch of money for. We do this for free. So the only thing we want in return is for you to share it, get the knowledge out of it, tell someone about it, put them on.
Radium
Bring on a cool
podcast.
guest, shoot a cool guest our way. Do something for us.
Right.
I'm okay with asking for that at episode 45. That's 45 weeks of podcasting. So also shout out to Will Martins behind the camera. We've had a lot of different people helping us throughout this whole thing.
Shout out to me.
And shout out to KDE, Kevin.
I've been really working hard.
He's been working hard. I've been working hard. I'm
really getting somewhere this year.
I'm really on.
I did it on my own.
Yeah. But, shout out to everybody that's been helping along the way with this podcast. It's not easy. 2 4K cameras, aligning, syncing audio, coloring, editing, going into Adobe After Effects, getting logos done, doing the edit on everything. It takes hours and hours and hours every episode. So please go back, watch it, check it out, shout it out. Leave some comments, show some love. If you guys are getting anything out of it, show some love.
Let's get in these Grammys.
Yeah, let's get into these Grammys.
So what number Grammy is this? It's like
This is a 59th.
59th Grammy.
Yep. 2019 59th Grammy Awards, which is really not that much.
Right.
It shows you how young the music industry is.
Are you excited?
I'm never excited about the Grammys.
Yeah, same here. I was about to say, like, the Grammys.
I will be when I'm nominated or I'm up for a Grammy.
Yeah, it's like one of those things. It's for the resume. It's for other people to get excited about.
It's an absolutely politically charged event, and it's shoulder rubbing, and people go to the Grammys and they get invited to the Grammys, and it's great for social media and it's great for publicity.
Yeah. Let's keep it real. How does it work, Brad? Break down the how do you get nominated? How do you win?
So basically, there's a bunch of people that are on the board of the Grammys, right? They can be nominated, but typically when you're on the Grammys, you can actually vote on the Grammys. You have to be someone of stature, right? So you have to have records out there. You have to be a big film composer. You have to be a big music producer, a big sound designer, someone that's been up for a Grammy before, be a part of some sort of affiliation with the Grammys. So it is very much a...
Cool Kids Club?
It's like a political party as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like, hey, we got the Democrats and they just decided that they're going to give themselves awards. That's what it is. And I'm running in office. I'm the state Senate. I'm going to, you're my friend. You can vote on the Grammys. That's what it is. It's just
I'm gonna nominate my buddy.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get all my other buddies to vote for him.
Typically, yeah. And the biggest thing in the past that people would complain about is, hey, the Grammys aren't fair. Let me just break something down for everyone here. Life's not fucking fair. And that's how it is. And if you put importance into winning a Grammy and you want everything to be fair with your little award ceremony, give yourself an award. Go buy yourself a trophy, put your name on it.
Amen.
Life's not fair. Doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? Someone gets a Grammy, they're going to get a better career out of it. But I'll tell you the truth about the Grammys. When a composer gets a Grammy, when a producer gets a Grammy, they are on their way out. And that's typically how it works. And if you pay attention to history, that's how it always has worked. Because when you get a Grammy, your fees go up, right? And you become this upper echelon, big time, right?
Grammy nominated, even if you're nominated. You didn't win, but you're nominated.
But when you win, that's when your days are limited. And to a lot of people, this doesn't make sense. They're like, no, dude, you're a fucking idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. I've worked for a composer that voted on the Grammys every single year. I understand the Grammys. I was actually part of the Grammy chapter when I was going to school at Expression Digital Arts.
We showed up.
Yeah, we were invited to producer wing Grammy events where we would, go in and talk to a bunch of people on the Grammy boards. And, I'm vice president chair of the Grammys of this part of the Grammys or whatnot.
The
chapters
chapter.
And the the student chapter and this chapter and the producers and engineers chapter. This is a really hard game to play because you go and win a Grammy, you're basically out of reach for this level of work, and there's just very few at the top. And then guess who you're competing with? You're like, oh, I got to get a movie against Hans Zimmer now? Yeah, you do, fuckhead. And that's the problem, is like, you've won a Grammy, so now you're competing with Hans Zimmer. That's the way it works. And if you're a producer, like, let's say you get poppin', you get a Grammy, you didn't even try to. You're like, oh shit, dude, we're up for a Grammy, You're like, yeah, we're up for a Grammy. And you win that Grammy, but you've been in producing music for like 2-3 years, and you're definitely not ready for a Grammy. You win the Grammy, now you're like, dude, I'm only taking big work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, guess who you're competing against now? You're competing against the biggest producers in the entire galaxy.
Well, you just better back it up, right, is what you're talking about.
That's what I'm saying. But the problem with it is if you don't build and build and build and build and build to winning a Grammy, like let's say you're in your 60s and you win a Grammy, you're probably pretty good. That's great, right?
Let's talk that shit for a minute, because a lot of people get nominated and very few artists that, we would say deserved it win it. And a lot of artists that win it that shouldn't have won.
Right.
And I'd say this happens because, like I said, it comes down to who's voting. And unless you're like known to the world and you're a artist that has crossed over to, the pop market, I think it's really hard to win. It's easy for Drake to win a Grammy. It's hard for Kodak Black to win a Grammy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He hasn't crossed over to the pop market yet. So.
And I think this is an important subject for everyone in music, in the music business world. I just got back from the 10X Growth Con. Grant Cardone, if you even follow anything he talks about, anything he teaches, any of his books, the most important thing for you in music, in anything in business, is to get out of obscurity. So if you're really well known, like Mac Miller was that one year, he just won all these Grammys. That's how you do it, dude. Get well known. Make sure the Grammy committee and all the old white guys that produce records and compose and that are on those committees, make sure they know your name. Drake did a pretty damn good job.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not against that. I'm like, man, you want to make the dopest art in the world and nobody knows you. That's fine. Do that. But you want to win a Grammy. You want to get, millions of dollars off your product, your service. You have to get known. And I was just watching this little snippet on LinkedIn. Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. And
blow them up.
Yeah.
What's the at?
Isn't that funny? the LinkedIn thing, like no artists in the music industry are on LinkedIn. Yo, hit me up, Drake. I'm on LinkedIn. But I was just on LinkedIn and I saw this thing with Gary Vee. It was just like, a little live event he was talking on, and I totally forgot where I was going with this. But he was talking about basically, look, if you want to make money, you have to get known, right? You have to. And in 2019, here's what it was. He was talking about how he predicted in 2011 that Amazon would blow up.
Oh, I saw that. That was on Facebook though, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's everywhere,
sure
right?
everywhere.
There you go. Great example. Everywhere, right? And he was like, yo, if you want to blow up, do what Amazon's doing. They are going to blow up. Buy stock in them. They're going to kill it. There's just no contenders. There's no way they can't blow up, right? He said that. He predicted that. And then he was saying, okay, now I'm going to make a prediction for 2019 and beyond. He's like, if you're going to be in business in any sense, I don't care what you are. You're an artist, you're a graphic designer, whatever the fuck you are. You're freelance, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to make volume. Volume. You don't need perfect content. You don't need a perfect movie, a perfect, Grammy award-winning song. You need volume. You need content and a lot of it. And that was his thing. So that's like his prediction right now. I just wanted to pass that on.
Let's get back to these Grammys a little bit.
These Grammys. What was that one song? I Won a Grammy?
Oh yeah, that was Drake.
You remember that one?
Yeah, Drake's record. So this year, it's funny, we were looking at the nominees, but you pointed out Backstreet Boys. Back up for it again. Guess who my prediction is who's going to win another Grammy this year?
Could you imagine? I think it's for like best pop duo album or song or something.
Right, they released something. I didn't even know about it.
Will, what was this song called? Nobody knows.
No one knows.
Crickets. He goes, I don't remember.
Did you hear that new Backstreet single? It's killing the charts.
It's like, Backstreet's back, all right. That's the whole thing.
So, yeah, they're going to win it. I don't think Kodak Black's going to win. Back to my prediction.
Well, poor Kodak Black, man. I mean, honestly, like, he's a real... Okay, so Kodak Black, the thing I love about Kodak Black is he's himself.
Yeah.
He's a hood-ass dude. You know what I mean? And that's him. And he's making music. That's who he is, though. And like most of you guys out there that are making hood-ass music live in the suburbs. Like, I don't understand that. You make pretty good money. Like, you work a pretty good job, and then you
heard it
first.
Yeah. Brad's G-checking all the suburb kids.
100%, man. Like, even the rappers are super hard,
pulling their
man.
street cards.
Yeah. You guys got money, dude. You have trap money, but, you're not Kodak Black. Like, don't talk about street stuff if you're not Kodak Black.
All right, let's get back to the Grammys, though.
He always wants to get back to the subject.
Yeah,
we are talking about the Grammys.
No, we're talking about Kodak Black and pulling streetcars. Who is my prediction? Oh yeah, I thought that This Is America should definitely win. What is it? Song of the Year or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, You know what though? Like without the video, I don't think it's that great of a song.
No, definitely. I think what it stood for and like what it's a moment in time. I give it that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So I give it. That's
but
why
you
he
need
should
the
win.
visual on that.
God's Plan shouldn't win a Grammy. I mean, I think it's got enough.
Just because it's popular doesn't mean that it's Grammy worthy. Is how I look at it.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. It was popular. Played a lot at the club. Doesn't mean that you should give it a Grammy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Right.
back to why I think This Is America should win.
But there were other ones. There were the I Like It Like That. The
Skip.
Yeah, Skip. I like it like that.
We
Dude.
talked a little bit about this before the podcast, but like you can't get a Grammy nomination off of someone else's hit. You know what I mean?
That was on like Tostino
And I'm sure
commercials.
that already had a Grammy, so you can't give a Grammy to like a remix. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's whack. I mean, it might happen because this is like a nominee thing,
Yeah.
like people nominate them. It's democratic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely, This America Should Win. That's not like my favorite song. I didn't even think I wasn't a big fan of what's his name, Childish Gambino. Prior to the song, and I'm still maybe not that big of a fan of his, but like I got to give it credit for what he did, with the song. So
right,
yeah.
No, I think it was just a nice overall piece of work. If you put it all together, it's an amazing piece of work, and it is Grammy worthy because it was fully thought out. It's like, yes, it's the times, which is really important for the Grammys. I think if you're going to come out with, this is the 59th, 2019, that song better resonate with the times. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
But let's remember, there's a lot of artists out there like Snoop Dogg and Nas that have never had a Grammy.
A Tribe Called Quest.
Right? And these guys made songs at times too. So it is a popularity contest, and it always will be. And life's not fair, and it sucks when people are like, they got robbed of the Grammys. It's like, dude, we got President Trump in office, man.
Well, let's kick it real. Awards aren't
just not fair.
Awards aren't anything this day. Like, you win a MTV award, boo, like whoop-de-doo, you know what I mean? You win a BET award, cool, you know what I mean?
Sick, bro.
It's just like, yo, what is an award? You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's bragging rights. It's just like if your team wins a Super Bowl. What does that mean to you? Nothing at all. It means you get to go to work and be like, yeah, motherfucker, my team won. It's the same thing with Grammys. We hear it all the time in LA. In Hollywood, we're like, yo, bro, I'm working with this Grammy-nominated engineer. I'm like, dude, yeah? Yeah, he was Grammy-nominated for best children's book fairy tale song. Like, I don't give a fuck, dude. Nobody cares. But you know who cares? Is the customer, the client, and it's
the A&R.
It's a sales pitch. It's a marketing
the record label person. Yep.
Because they can pitch it. That's all it is. You're able to pitch it better. And that's something, though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a Grammy, if you're a Grammy award-winning, pop producer, that says something. People are like, wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, if you're going to hand me a Grammy, I'm not going to be mad at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I understand, but I understand who it's for. You know what I mean? It's not for me, being in music.
No, it's not.
Yeah. It's for everyone else to talk about.
Yeah, but Grammys are fun here because there's a lot of events around it in LA. It's like, this is the home of the Grammys, man. This is the biggest award ceremony for music and the music industry.
It's like the Academy Award, right, for music, essentially.
For sure.
At this point.
And Los Angeles just pops off. Like, there's a lot of events. Everybody from all over the world comes here. You got artists from Miami, Atlanta, Nashville, all of them. They all come here. And that's really cool. So I encourage you guys to get out there and go shake hands and be a part of those events, because we do need to go and celebrate the music and the culture around the music and keep that culture alive let's have award ceremonies for music, because people need to keep pushing and keep trying to make the best music out there, because that quality shows. And regardless of whether you like or dislike the songs and the nominees, they're still at a higher production value, and they're setting a higher standard. And I think that's really important. That's what keeps us alive as a music business,
We're going to do the Radium Awards.
Yeah, we will.
It's going to be an episode.
One day. The Radium Awards goes to... It's me. I won again.
No. What we're gonna do? It's just gonna be the Talk Shit Awards. You're gonna be the lamest music video. Nominees are
sucks. We hated this one. I'll tell you why we hated it so much. I love getting comments on Instagram now. Like,
worst piece of gear of 2019.
Yeah, I love getting comments on Instagram now from people hating on the fact that we're hating. They're like, you guys are fucking haters. I'm like, dude. You're hating on our video on a post about us being haters. I'm like, how does that work? It's like a double standard.
People feel a certain type of way when you start dissing their favorite artist.
I love it.
You diss something that they bought, like they own that piece of gear, and you talk shit about it.
Or they sent like 50,000 beats to that artist and placed one, so they're like, dude, fuck you, man. You're a hater. But anyway, so speaking of salty haters,
salty chips
in the No, let's talk about the new gear and stuff that's coming out right now, because this is a big part of what we do. I don't want to go into this like in detail, but KRK has dropped the new rockets, the G4 series.
G4, flyest ever, flyest rockets ever.
I don't know why he's locked in on that.
Yeah, I don't know, because G4s are jets, man. It's funny that they're putting those symbols. The G5 rockets, the G6 rockets.
I think it's just Generation 4. Boring.
Boring.
He goes, sucks.
They should have went with the hype route.
Well, I think that's probably the same thing with those private jets.
Yeah, but they should have still like put some like wings on the rockets or something.
Yeah, right. But yeah, so these monitors I think are really good for bedroom producers and even project studio producers.
The bedroom classics.
Yeah, they truly are. But I think the cool thing about the Rocket series is that KRK has been around for a long time. People don't understand
what do they stand for? What does KRK stand for?
KRK, I don't know.
It's like something Russian, I bet, too.
Yeah, maybe German. I don't know. But they've been around for a really long time, and they've been in legendary studios for a long time, and they weren't always like doing the prosumer stuff.
But they did it.
And now they're making it better, which I think is good because they're adding in like DSP and room frequency shooting and
phone app control.
Yeah, I think that's cool. A lot of people don't have a tuned room. They don't have the means to go and tune a room. They don't know how to tune a room. It's a lot of work. I mean, you could talk on that.
I could talk a lot on that. I have a lot of shit to talk about when it comes to
tuning rooms.
The Auto Cal from Genelec, which I do have on my speakers.
Yeah, you got the digital Genelecs here.
Yeah. So they tune to the room. Yeah, it's a good. They work, and you gotta be like a little smarter than the speaker. So
for sure,
it's unfortunately the Rocket price point. I think you're gonna get a lot of people who are not smarter than the speaker. So
yeah,
which is where it could get really bad.
The hard part is also that the Genelec software is a little more sophisticated in that it won't actually boost frequencies.
Yeah, that too.
And yes. I think that the KRK stuff is just going to kind of go, hey, here's an EQ curve. You should use this. And kids are just going to go.
At this point in time.
Yeah, kids are just going to go, that's what I did. It works, right? And they're going to start mixing records on it like it's the Bible, right? That's the say all be all, and that's how it should sound, right? It sounds dope.
Yeah, we got to do the Radium reviews. That was like one of the things that we were gonna do. That was like on the to-do list. We got to pick up a pair of these rockets.
Yeah, totally.
And we got to give it the
and really listen to them in the room, yeah, and shoot them in the room.
Do some mixes on them.
Totally, I'm down for it. So the cool thing about these rockets is the DSP and the EQ and stuff, but it could also be a bad thing, like Kevin just mentioned. It also, with the biggest model, you can turn them on their side, and they have what the Focals did with their series with the trios.
They go wide. Yeah.
No, you can turn the tweeter.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, so that you guys aren't like throwing it on their side when they're not supposed to be on their side.
The cabinet actually rotates on the inside, right? The
tweeter.
Yeah, the tweeter.
Right. So the tweeter in mid-range.
The cabinet, yeah.
Right.
So here's what we should talk about, because I mean, app control, all that stuff, that's all like bells and whistles. I think it comes down to what I think we should talk about what using EQ on speakers does a little bit and get into the actual science. So that, like I said, you got to be a little bit smarter than the speaker and what does boosting on a EQ do versus cutting on the EQ on your speakers. Because I think this is like a really interesting area that a lot of people don't actually know a lot on. You know what I mean? Yeah,
so I'll break it down as simple as I can. The low end is what matters. The high and the mids, you can put some traps up. You can use the EQ. It'll probably be fine. You're going to get reflections with that. That's the most important stuff. All you're talking about is slap echo, flutter echo, canceling out frequencies in the mids and the highs. But when you talk about the low end, once you get into 150 hertz, 200 hertz and below, you're talking about modal ringing. And when a room is ringing, you cannot fix that by EQing it. And this will be the biggest factor in what kills every EQ room system ever invented ever, because the low end is not something you just go and EQ. And the reason is because when you get into a room, the room resonates like blowing in a bottle, right? When you put the water in the bottle and you go, hoo, hoo, And you do less water and it goes, hoo, hoo, right?
I'm going to make a snippet of you doing that.
Hoo, hoo. Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
So those are resonant frequencies, and that low end will it'll whistle, and it'll ring out in a certain amount of time. Just like any cavity, when you're in anything, it becomes an instrument. An acoustic guitar, the way it's shaped, the body of it has a resonant frequency. The way a speaker is designed, the actual cabinet and the driver within the cabinet is resonating at a certain frequency, right? So they have to take care of these with crossover points, with built-in DSP, EQ, stuff like that. But that's never going to solve that problem. So the biggest recommendation that I have for anybody ever trying to get their room to sound better, it is 80% where you put the speakers in the room.
Move your damn speakers.
Move your speakers around. Like, put them up against the wall, spread them out a little further, go in closer, pull them out from the wall 3 inches, 6 inches, 9 inches, keep moving them around until you find the flattest frequency response in the low end. That is the most important thing, the low end. And then the high end and the mid-range, that's all a matter of what's in front of you. Do you have a big-ass desk that's reflecting and canceling out the mid-range or the high end? You know, all you really need to do is hit your mirror positions with some foam, with some broadband absorption to really get those things under control. But the low end is all about moving your speakers around because you want to find the place where they're the flattest, resonating in the room. They're going to resonate no matter what.
You can trap some low end.
You can trap some low end, absolutely. But before you trap any low end, just put your speakers. Yeah, just move them. Like, people get so hyped on, like, let's put a bunch of traps up, bro. I got all this foam, I got Orlex, I got all this shit. I'm gonna just, and then they want to put their speakers in the most exciting, most accessible, coolest looking place in their room, and that's not how they sound the best. It never is. Like, you have to move them around. You have to figure out where they resonate the best. And we're talking about the listening position, right? Because where we listen is the most important thing. Like, we need the flattest frequency response right there where we listen. And yeah, that's about it. I think that's like
let me throw my 2 cents in there.
Yeah, run it down.
So from a dude who uses auto calibrating speakers with EQ in the room on each speaker, and they're independently EQ'd, I can tell you that it makes your listening position very, very small, but very, very precise. You have a very small, very precise listening position, and then it sounds pretty crazy outside of that.
Yeah. But you know what? That's also because we're not just talking frequencies with the Gentle X. We're talking about time alignment.
Time and phase, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if these KRKs have that. That's a very sophisticated algorithm.
Yeah. But when you do get the sweet spot right, it matters. I think like I said, the price of these rockets and what's going to happen is that I think you're going to get a lot of people who are just going to do a lot of crazy stuff, and then the EQ is going to do a lot of crazy stuff to try to fix that.
For sure.
And then you're going to get a lot of crazy ass mixes coming out of those things.
It's so true. Yeah. And they're going to be like, well, dude, I got the KRKs, man. They got the room EQ. My shit's perfect.
But not everybody's read as much as you have on acoustics, or even as I have on acoustics.
Right.
So it's just like, you know, maybe we got to do a whole Radium podcast on acoustics. But
I mean, we'll save that for like a tutorial series. I don't think you want to get into that. That's some real nerdy shit.
But, you know, like with these rockets, I just be careful. Move your speakers. Get just some basic acoustics going. Get some foam, like Brad said, if you have to.
Yeah, and the most important thing is pick the right speaker for the room size. You know, so the entry level ones are $179 each. And the
G4
biggest
rockets.
the biggest ones are really big. I think they're 8-inch or 10-inch woofers.
Yeah,
that's really large. And
definitely some small rooms are going to get those.
and they're just going to overkill it, and you're just not going to hear the bass right ever.
Yeah,
because that bass is just going to be like resonating like crazy in different octaves. And but yeah, those are $500 each. So you're looking at a pretty good price range. I personally couldn't see $179 each, like $360 a pair, or $1,000 a pair monitors being that great. I just couldn't see it.
Brad, flex on them one time. How much does one of your speakers cost?
They're about $4,000 each after tax per speaker. So I just couldn't imagine like the KRK series being like, oh my God, like.
Now, why would you pay for something that expensive? Just to explain it to people who are getting into mixing, or why would that even make any sense?
You would pay for something that expensive when you have the room that's that expensive.
Yeah.
You have to have the room sounding really great, because I would put KRKs in a bad room or the Focals in a bad room. It's not going to matter.
Yeah.
Who cares? You're going to hear the same shit. Like what clouds your speakers and how good they are. And this goes with any gear. This goes with your microphone, whatever. It's what room, environment, acoustically, how you're hitting it. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter.
We got to do a whole podcast on, the difference from mixing at home versus mixing in, a tuned room.
It's so massively different. People don't understand that most of the time you're battling, like you're like, man, I can't get my mixes right. I'm not that good at mixing, or I'm not that good at recording or engineering or whatever. Like, no, it's not that, dude. If you ever got into a nice tuned room with some nice speakers, you'd realize like once you can hear things the way that they actually sound, it's a lot easier. It makes it so much easier. Like you start to hear things unblanketed, right? So if you have a little sound that's being really annoying, or noise in a recording that you can't even hear in your bedroom because your noise floor is like up here, right?
Yeah.
And you got cars going by and stuff, you're not going to hear that shit in it. But when you get into a studio or you put it in headphones, like the Bose ones, the noise canceling, people hear that shit like crazy. They're like, man, why doesn't this record sound huge? Because you got a bunch of noise that you're just adding and adding and adding, but you don't even know because you can't hear it.
Yeah. Speaking of things that you can't hear, segue.
I love
I'm the
our
segue
segues.
king.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
swear I am.
Speaking of people that are people.
Speaking of things you can't hear, let's talk about the lamest topic on the list, which is MIDI 2.0.
You know what, though? Like, some people, especially the composer community, is going to be like, MIDI 2.0 environment? Fuck yeah. That's so sick. I've been waiting for this for, 40 years now?
You break down what is
50 years.
What is MIDI to all the, you know what? I forget who I was talking to. Someone I was talking to is like, yeah, and I listen to your podcast, but anytime you guys start talking about engineering stuff, you lose me.
Yeah, right.
So let's I think we got to go a little like a step more basic. So what is MIDI first off?
Okay, musical instrument digital interface. So all it is it's like sending messages to something. It's like a computer goes zeros and ones. MIDI is on and off. And it can be layers of on and off. That's all it is. It's like 127 velocity layers. So if you hit a key and you have 127 samples of something, like a piano, that's how you would make a piano in a virtual instrument sound really realistic, right? So you would sample the actual piano at 127 different velocity ranges on every single key. Okay, that's what MIDI allows you to do. The MIDI is all it's saying is like, when I hit it this soft, then play that sample. When I hit it that hard, play that sample, right? And most of these instruments only have really 3 samples per layer. So you have like from 0 to 27, right? And then you have from 28 to, 40, and then, you know what I mean? So those are the sample ranges. When I hit it from those ranges, I'm only going to fire that sample. So the more detailed the layering is on the MIDI, this is all in sampling. This is all in virtual instruments. The more detailed that layering is, the more realistic the sampling in strings and pianos, drums, basically any sampled instrument. It doesn't matter too much in trap music.
So what is protocol negotiation?
You're like, go simpler.
No.
What's protocol? What's property exchange?
Okay, so MIDI, let me dog on it, and then we'll get into what MIDI 2.0 is.
Yeah, please do.
So MIDI 1.0, I can't tell you how many sessions, me personally, where it's like, killed the vibe, or it's like,
dude, my keyboard's turn it off and on.
Dude, okay, try plugging it in here. Okay, take it out of your MPC and then plug it into your DAW. And no, that's not working. Okay, plug the DAW into the MPC first.
Right. That's hilarious.
Okay, so yeah, MIDI 1.0, it's really it's simple in theory to scientists, but to the average stoner trying to make a rap song,
it's like rocket science.
It really is rocket science.
Like, bro, what the fuck? What are all those? What is the CC on your? What?
What are the different layers and what? How come I can't get the articulation right?
Right. Like, I don't think that they wouldn't even know what articulation is. Like, you wouldn't use that in your vocabulary if you're a stoner making rap beats. No. So MIDI has been around since 1983. Okay, it was developed in 1983. Dave Smith was really like the creator of it, but there was a team of people really working on this stuff. So what's going on is MIDI 1.0 has been around since 1983, and that is the protocol we've been using. And that's why it's really interesting and exciting for MIDI 2.0 to be introduced. Now, it's been talked about being developed for over decades. So people are kind of like, shut the fuck up. Okay, MIDI 2.0, when are we going to get it? But the biggest thing about MIDI 2.0 is that we're trying to get tighter timing, right? So when we hit the key and the response of everything, and also when it locks to MIDI, and we're talking about MIDI grids, we're talking about MIDI time code, things like this. Like, I can't really go into that. That'll be really nerdy. Yeah. But MIDI 2.0 is basically like, hey, let's make a much easier to use rather than like CC data. So right now you have to pick a CC data to, like, let's say you're playing a violin sample and you want to do like a key switch. You have to pick a CC to switch from, say, a legato string where it's playing legato to like a staccato patch, right? You're hitting an actual key, or you're using a mod wheel to go through CC data. MIDI CC is like control data, right? And it's using a number to talk to the computer about like, hey, switch to this sample once we go to CC data, whatever, right? MIDI 2.0 is like, hey, we're going to do all that stuff automatically. Let's get rid of all that bullshit. We're going to auto-configure to the different types of instruments. And
synthesizer, piano,
right.
You got an organ.
Right. Everything will be auto-configured.
MPC, whatever it is. You know?
So we don't need to go like, figure out patches and stuff and key switching for all this random stuff. And the biggest thing is for composers, when you're writing a score and you need to do a mock-up for a director, you want it to sound as realistic as possible. And to do that, you have to pretend like you have a section of all these instruments, right? You have all your string sections, you have brass sections, all these things, the percussion, pianos, all this stuff. But that, like the violin, like imagine if a violin player can only play one articulation, and the cello player could also only play one articulation.
We hear what one articulation sounds like. Just listen to the stuff coming out the 80s, what I mean, on the keyboards.
Yeah, keyboard synths, right? Where it's just all string pads.
Yeah, and it's like it's one velocity. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just all legato, one velocity. So nowadays it's like, show me the orchestra. I want to hear it. I want to see it.
It's got to sound real.
It's got to sound real. Put it up against the picture. Ooh, that's nice. Even if you are going to re-record with an actual full orchestra that's going to be able to read from the paper the articulations and all the changes within the music, we have to program that shit.
Well, how much orchestral score that goes on to TV shows is MIDI these days?
A lot of it.
Majority.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with budget.
Yeah.
But films, big films, like if you're a Marvel film, every single one of those is going to have a full orchestra.
Yeah.
80, 90 pieces. And those are huge. That's a huge undertaking. You have to have a composer. You have to have really multiple composers, orchestrators, people really like programming these sounds to picture of the full orchestra palette. Now just think about the orchestra as a palette, just like you would think about a trap beat as a palette, right? I have my kick drum, I got my 808, I got my Omnisphere patches, like 1, 2, 3 of them. And then I got my, I'm going to go fuck all these things up. And then, hi-hats. That's like your palette. You have all your instruments. The orchestra is the same thing. It's just you have 90 pieces. And then imagine as an inbox orchestrator, you have to be able to switch between articulations. So if you have 90 pieces, that's great. But then you have to switch articulations through those 90 pieces. So those violins, they have to switch from playing staccato to pizzicato to legato to tremolo, And then you're talking about multiplying 90 pieces by, what, 10, 12? So those palettes get massive. So with MIDI is the communication. It's the liaison between those. It's like saying, I want to play the orchestra like this. Okay, now MIDI, tell the instrument to switch to this articulation in the same patch. That's what a key switch is, really. So, and then, I want to express. I want to be expressive with the violin, right? So I don't want it to just go, like you're saying, the 80s. I want it to go, like an actual player bowing.
I'm making that into a snippet too.
Like all this stuff is velocity, it's expression, it's dynamics, and it's controlling things. Even breath control and stuff like with flutes and woodwinds. So MIDI has been used for decades and decades and decades. And now we're finally talking about MIDI 2.0 environment. Like, really? It's been around since 1983 and it's 2019 and we're just going to get to MIDI 2.0. Pretty crazy.
Okay, in practicality, I don't want to know any of this shit. I just want it to actually work when I plug
just
it in.
open it, right.
So, if they can make it work, then I'm pretty happy about it. So,
but the best producers in the world know how to use MIDI, dude.
Of course.
You want to cut off a filter, you want to be Skrillex, you got to know what MIDI is. You got to use it. You got to use all your tools. If you open up Serum or Massive or whatever and you're not using your tools, you're just using presets and you're hoping that,
But I'm lit.
But I'm lit. But that's why people started using gross beat and stuff. Because they wanted to fuck up the sound because they didn't know how to use MIDI. It's what it is. Like, you don't know how to use the tools that are already within the software. So they're like, we'll just throw another tool on top of it that messes it up. And then just switch through presets.
Yeah, definitely on like the synthesis game. I think like people have been like using the hell out of MIDI and it like they really needed to update it for years and years, and finally they're giving like the ability to map and change all these parameters that all these companies have had to do crazy ass workarounds forever. So yeah,
I mean, it's pretty interesting. MIDI is a dinosaur.
But
imagine if we were on Pro Tools 2. We were just talking about 2 now. We're gonna introduce Pro Tools 2. Like, what the fuck? Are you serious?
Well, they did release Pro Tools 2019 at NAMM.
That's true.
Yeah, we could get real deep.
I don't think it's released yet, though. We're still in 2018.
They dropped at least what's going to be in it.
Yeah,
so.
That's pretty cool, though. So, yeah, that's MIDI. Pretty exciting stuff. At the end of the day, though, like, what you have to remember with any of this stuff is you can go as deep as you want to go with anything, right? If you want to get really good at guitar, you can get really deep into how you play the guitar. You can finger pick, you can use whatever, right? You can play acoustic, you could play a tenor guitar, electric guitar. Same thing with making beats. Like, you could get deep and deep and deep, mixing and mastering, deeper. It's everything has layers.
Should we do my really great Super Bowl coverage?
Yeah, cover the Super Bowl.
So there was a Super Bowl and
there was a Super Bowl.
Some people played and no one cares.
And no one cares.
That is your coverage.
I think a lot of people actually care. There's a mass market for that.
Yeah, you know what? I heard this was like the boringest Super Bowl in the history of Super Bowl.
It's because no one was
the
scoring.
least viewed too, right? It was the least viewed Super Bowl of all the Super Bowls.
Yeah, it's just no one was actually scoring. That's the thing.
What was the final score? 13-3.
Yeah, it was like 0-0, basically.
Yeah, and then who was your acts? I think it was Justin Timberlake and Travis Scott, right? Those were the two.
No. It was Adam Levine.
Oh yeah. Oh, Justin Timberlake was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did Prince last year. That was, and then
that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, but if I think behind the scenes, I think actually Prince, when he was alive, him and Justin Timberlake had beef. So
really,
yeah,
that's hilarious.
It was like your enemy bigging you up or something like that.
Dude, I think Prince had beef with everyone, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I'd rather talk about last year's Super Bowl than this year's Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean, the LA Rams were in it, which is really cool. Like, they just moved to LA and then they're in the Super Bowl. So I thought that was pretty rad. And we're in LA, so that's nice, but they got handed to, they didn't win. That's okay though. Getting into the Super Bowl right as you move to LA is like pretty dope, I think. Patriots, Tom Brady just like broke a record, right? He just won like the most Super Bowls.
You know what this reminded me of is like when I was watching like pre-fight coverage when it was what was it? Floyd versus who's the UFC fighter?
Oh yeah, Connor, right?
Oh, and he really has a chance, and this is gonna, this could be the one time Floyd loses, and
yeah, you remember that? Just because Connor just talks so much shit, and he's gonna go box him. Like, what? It's like Floyd Mayweather being like, "Yeah, let's jump in a MMA ring." He wouldn't do that.
Yeah, but that's what this what do you call that Super Bowl reminded me of? It's like, oh yeah, they're like selling you this idea that like the Rams are gonna win,
right?
Versus like Tom Brady, who's been in the last 13 Super Bowls and won them or something.
Yeah. You know what disappointed me like about the halftime show is like I was waiting on like sicko mode that like Drake would come out.
Oh
and
yeah,
Oh no Drake. All right. Okay, fire.
That's let's talk about. Okay, there's a little bit.
Fire
there's a little bit. Okay, so the homie Oz produced Sicko Mode, so it was like a big deal for him.
Yeah. And Oz is a dope producer.
We did the fam together, Marty's track with G.
That's right.
Oz is super dope. He's out of here.
Yeah, he's got so many records now, man.
Yeah, he's big time.
Yeah, he's big time.
If his music's playing at the Grammy,
like Austria or something.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
Sweden.
Yeah, he's from Europe, but
yeah, he's from Europe. It's all the same.
Well, I mean, I don't want to like
right
speak on some shit I don't
start
know about.
Coming up with some random shit.
But yeah, so that's pretty cool for at least a producer that I know of and have worked with. You know what I mean? To
have a track.
Yeah, to have a
being
track.
played at the Super Bowl halftime show.
I mean, and plus that track is how many times platinum, and I'm sure probably
massive.
Up for some sort of Grammy or something. So
yeah, maybe we didn't even touch on that.
Right.
Yeah, I think all this stuff is really exciting, but the Grammy thing is cool and stuff. But the Super Bowl, it used to be about commercials and advertising and stuff.
Yeah,
like people used to be really hyped on that stuff.
We could talk about some of that shit. I saw the Avengers shit on the Super Bowl, but it was like cool. It's
really interesting. I think it's good to pay attention to this. Like YouTube Red was one of the biggest sponsors. And like when you see that for the Super Bowl, you start to realize like culture is shifting. We're getting away from like Fox Sports to like, yo, people are on their phones, man.
Well, the NFL is talking about moving, right? So they're going to get off ESPN and, because they're separate. ESPN is owned by Disney. NFL's not owned by Disney.
I mean, I hope people are paying attention because at the end of the day, this is like a massive shift in not only advertising, but in our industry of music, massive shift, dude. Like what happens when the Grammys are all online on Netflix or on Hulu or get picked up by, you know what I mean?
YouTube's going to
YouTube comes out and just crushes everybody.
I think YouTube will take probably most of the streaming. Just imagine if all sports, like all of ESPN, like, okay, so let's start with the NFL. If the NFL went to YouTube.
Oh, it'd be
and
freaking
to watch
ridiculous.
games, you have to log into YouTube.
Yeah.
It'd be crazy. I'm just thinking about all the dads sitting on couches that would have to like, rethink that game plan.
Well, I mean, Roku TVs and all this stuff.
Yeah, I think it'd be convenient. I think you could still go to the bar and watch it, but it'd be pretty cool to see, you know what I mean, that go to streaming. I actually want that to happen.
Yeah, I like the idea of taking things out of control of the FCC and these committees that have like basically monopolized all of these different entertainment channels and mediums. I like the fact that it's like, yo, just give it to the people, make it, it's not like a public thing anymore. It's becoming more privatized. Like you got to pay a monthly fee if you want Netflix,
Yeah.
You got to pay, but some things you can get on Hulu and you can do it free if you watch some commercials, right? And I think like all of this shift, all it means is that it's opening up the gates. It's like players are becoming free agents again. Everybody's up in the air. Like
what'll happen is it's already happened is the internet and streaming and all that will be regulated. That's what happens.
Yeah,
it's going to get regulated.
100%.
So the internet's already regulated, I get the DMCC messages every time I Google search something now. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it'll be really interesting to see how that all plays out, especially with advertising spend, because here's a big question that came up when I was at this conference for sync licensing music, which I think is really cool for our listeners because a lot of you guys and girls are out there like trying to get your music placed on stuff. You want to make money with your music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that came up is like, I don't know if anyone like that pays attention to our podcast really understands this stuff deep enough, but a media buy is basically how much does it cost to do this thing on what platform, and the usage fees, and where can it be put for how long, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I want to run a commercial on the internet and I need music for it. Okay, well, we got to give you a license, a sync license for that music to be playing to synchronize to your picture, your commercial, your music video, whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your movie, your TV show. Okay, what's the usage on it? Oh, we're going to do it for 3 months on internet only. Okay. Are you going to run it on Instagram? Yeah, we want to run it on our stories. We want to have 10 story posts. Mm-hmm. And we also want to put it actually on our timeline, right? And the timeline, as we know, doesn't just go away. You don't just delete things off your timeline, right? But what if the usage is like 3 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or 2 weeks? We want to run it on Instagram as well for 2 weeks. Okay, cool. Now, does that mean you delete it after 2 weeks? You know what I mean? Or does it, because, and then, you know, it's on the internet now, so it's already everywhere, right? How do you actually go and make these deals? Because every deal is different.
They're making them already, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but every deal's different.
Travelocity does majority of their marketing on the internet. They don't market on TV.
Yeah,
you know
YouTube pre-rolls and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So,
but YouTube pre-rolls can be more, they're more controlled, but like a Instagram post,
yeah,
you're not like running an ad on Instagram. You have to post it and then run an ad.
Instagram is really good at tracking now. So as far as the numbers or the usage, that I think, of course, that's, you know, like I'm sure all these new age contracts and commercials and stuff, that's how they're running. But yeah, like Instagram, Facebook, their metric system is really fucking good. I think Facebook more so is really bad at tracking video. So
yeah. Well, yeah, and the algorithm keeps changing.
Yeah,
like
so Facebook has more problem than Instagram as far as right now.
Right, and the biggest thing is like everything. Like I don't think people understand there will be no organic reach very soon here. There will be no reach organically. Like it doesn't matter. Look, like the most important thing is that you're making a massive volume of content. And it goes back to that Gary Vee thing. It's like if you're not making a ton of content, you won't have any organic reach ever. Because the platform will never push your stuff unless you put money behind it.
Yeah.
So the organic reach thing is dead. So if you have, like, for example, you have these influencers, what happens to influencers? That's going to disappear. All you guys and girls out there that are public figures, you're influencers, like that's a land grab. That's a time period, right? Like, what do you do from there? And I'm not asking them, like, personally. I'm just saying, like, what do you do from there? If there's no organic reach and you're paying this person that's an influencer all this money, but their reach goes down because there's just no organic reach. They're not paying to promote your thing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how are you? Okay, I got 1 million followers, but it doesn't really matter because
I think marketing, now we're getting a really deep topic, but marketing is going less in your face and more so, you know, kind of like the Transformers route where like everything is a product promotion. And Xbox exploding and turning into a robot is...
You're talking product placement stuff.
Yeah, so it's going to be more that versus like, oh, we paid Kendall Jenner to do a CoverGirl ad, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you'll have to build an audience. And that's why I think the volume thing is super important. If you're going to put out a piece of content, you better put out hundreds of pieces of content because people need to see you over and over and over again. If you post and you're not going to get organic reach, you need to post a lot more often and you need to have content that's actually serving a purpose that's free, that your market and the people that are watching you get a ton of value from, right? And you can't sell them anything otherwise. And like, let's face it, like that's what this is all about. If you're an influencer, how do you get paid? You get paid by promoting someone's products and you're selling it.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it, you're selling it. So it's an interesting thing. I'm looking at all this organic reach stuff just go down. It's just falling down. And like now it's at a percentage where they say that like 17% of your followers are actually seeing your content organically.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't see anybody's stuff on my Instagram. I see a bunch of spam.
Just the stuff you like and the stuff you constantly are looking at.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So like,
did you notice on Instagram when you? Sorry,
I already know it's
to interrupt you, but did you notice that on Instagram when you open it now, you're going to see the stories. It's going to be slid over to whoever you've been watching the most stories of.
Oh, of course, that just gives you what you've been watching.
That's crazy though. Like that, it just started like in the last update or two.
Yeah. I've been that's been going on for a while. I felt like, you know what I mean? Because I'm already, I now just mute a lot of stories because like I just don't want to see a lot of that stuff. So,
but even that's really interesting to me. Like all of it, all it's doing is like pushing the stuff that you already hit. So if you're like liking one person's thing, it's just going to keep showing you that person's stuff only.
But you know why they did
and
this?
And then ads around that.
I mean, Facebook did this with Facebook years ago where they got rid of organic reach. And but this what happened, you know what I mean? Like people started spamming. They like, oh, I can get big if I spam. Yeah. Like back in the day on Instagram, like the idea was that you'd post like 3-4 times a day because you could spam and they'd get out there more, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And because of organic reach, you'd always be in front of people's faces. But like now, like that whole spam mentality is gone because Facebook, Instagram, they don't want you spamming. Like that ruins their platforms.
Yeah.
So what they're doing now is like they're giving you exactly what, their algorithms tell you want to see.
Right.
So they're, like you said, if you're not already in, you know what I mean? If you're not already an influencer, you know what I mean? You don't have reach to these new audience people, you know what I mean? Like, and the only way you're going to get reach now is through hashtags and, that they've already like limited
ad
hashtag.
Spend.
Yeah, and ad spend.
It's mainly ad spend. But yeah, that's an interesting thing. I think that goes directly into this whole idea of getting out of obscurity and getting your name known and winning a Grammy.
And MIDI CC.
And MIDI CC 2. And MIDI 2.0 environment.
And rockets.
And rockets, yeah. And all the new products from NAMM. But yeah, I highly encourage everybody to go check out other podcasts. There's some really great episodes in there. Episodes I still watch and listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to hear my own voice, but like, because some of the guests, like, I'm like, oh shit, they were actually dropping some really big knowledge there that I think a lot of people, not only just artists, but producers out there, people that are trying to get their brand out there, content out there, marketing, their look right, whatever it is. There's some really great episodes that we've done already. With Zoe, French Montana's A&R, right? Epic Records. I really like Dimplez. That podcast was great. She's like a marketing expert, so she's been doing this professionally for a long time. You can learn a lot from that one. What were some of your favorites, Kev?
The one with me on it.
Everyone with me on it.
No, Trey the Kid. That was dope.
Yeah, that was a funny one.
Yeah. Who else? I don't know. There's a bunch of good ones. Of course, my boy Marty. That was fun too. That was fun for us to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good ones out there.
I really like the Guapdad episode too. Like if people haven't checked out the Guapdad episode, like you guys are missing out.
We got to get Guap back on. So.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Episode 45 is a wrap. Next week we'll have 46.
At Bradley HD.
At KDE Beats. And
at Radium_Media.
I thought we were going to do it at the same time, like really cutesy. At Radium_Media. So yeah, go catch up with us. Go catch up on the podcast episodes and share the shit. Help your friends out.
Double tap like, hit the notification bell to subscribe.
Tab below.
Leave a comment in the bottom.
Right.
Tell us what you're thinking.
Or you suck.
Our rocket's lit or our rocket's lame. Let us know.
All right, bye.
All right, deuce.